Let's create another Java file. This time we are going to learn how to get input not from the keyboard, but from an old GUI. So InputDialog Example. Now I say it's an old GUI because this uses swing, and as I've mentioned in a previous video, swing is an older technology that Java is moving away from, but because of the nature of this class, we are going to just go ahead and start off with this really easy example because it's just really easy to do. So let's go ahead and review what we've learned about how to have a pop-up. So J option pane dot show message dialog. And the first thing is null, and then your message. If I, of course, if I try and compile it, it wants me to save it. So yes, let's always save it. Save it in the same place. And it doesn't know. Notice it shows where it doesn't, cannot find symbol, and where it can't find it right here starting with the J. So what do we have to import? Import Java x dot swing dot j option pane. If I import that, it knows what to do. It's good, and I can have my message, message dialog box show up right here. Yay, that's great. Well, how do I get information? Well, the built-in thing that the swing has is it's called the input dialog. So I'm going to type in j option pane dot, and then it's really simple, show input dialog. And then there's lots and lots of different options here, but for the simplicity of this class, we're just going to say your input message, and then we'll go from that. So let's go ahead and see what happens. It should compile fine. It does, so let's run it. There's my message, press OK, and then I get my input message. Oh, okay. I'm going to say cheese. I say OK, and then where did it put the cheese? Or, well, where did it put the output? Or I guess the output of the input. Where did it put the result of the input dialog? So we're going to have to actually grab it. So it's always a string, so I'll say input equals. And then, just for simplicity's sake, do system out println input. All right, and I'll comment the message dialog because I don't need that coming up every time. So my input, I'll type in cheese again, and there, my cheese showed up. Now, as my input always has to be a string, how do I convert it? Well, let's change this around and say, what is your quantity? Quantity, question mark. All right, so if we're going to have a quantity, then we need some sort of number. Let's use an int. So I'll say int quantity equals input. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print out quantity times 3. Because it's an integer, I can go ahead and convert it. And then I can multiply it. I can use it as an integer and everything should work great. Except, uh-oh, dang, incompatible types. Uh-oh, I can't just do that. And then it says I cannot find symbol because that never happened. So once again, whenever you have a whole bunch of errors, ignore everything after the first one. Only fix the first error. If you fix the first error, usually all the other errors go away. You can have, it's very common for me to have one mistake and have 10 errors. I fix the first error and all the other errors go away. So just fix one error at a time. So what we need to do is if we want to convert a string to an int, we're going to type Integer.parseInt and pass in input. And that will convert this string. It will explicitly cast it into an integer. All right, that works. Oh, it still doesn't. Oh, it doesn't like me because I didn't type quantity right. And you probably knew that, didn't you? There we go. Okay, what's your quantity? I'm going to say 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. It converted nicely. Well, what if I wanted to do this the same way, but instead of an integer, I want a double. So I'm going to type in double here, and then instead of integer.parseInt, it's double.parse, and instead of not parseInt, it's parseDouble. There we go. And that'll convert it nicely. So now it should be, instead of 9, 9.0. So 3, ta-da, 9.0. So this is an introduction into the show input dialog. I can, of course, put them together. So instead of doing system.out.println, I'll do a show dialog box, and here I will do quantity times 3. Compile that nicely. Excellent. Run that. 3, and then 9.0.